score! And many moons ago, I was in a Bible study. This Bible study was 4 men. We met every Tuesday morning at 6 a.m. for an hour and a half. For 2 years. It was a great group of men. We learned a lot about each other, our families, our faith, our goods, and our bads. Our leader, his name's Marty, still a very good friend of mine. One day, he said, Bryan, and guys, pick out a Bible plan and stick with it for the remainder of the year. And this was for year number 2. Most guys used the Bible app, and they picked a plan, and they read that part, and they kept consistent with it every day as it reminds someone to read their plan. I have this condition. This condition is overdoing things at times. I thought, this is a wonderful opportunity for me to improve my cursive handwriting. For the next year, I wrote my Bible plan in cursive, which is what I have not done in well over a decade. In fact, I'll show you. This is the New Testament in cursive. Top to bottom, front to back. Every day, averaging 3 to 5 pages a day for an entire year. At the end of that year, my cursive was much better. But then I thought, wow, I need to improve my Spanish. When I was in high school, I could speak relatively good Spanish as part of our curriculum. Great. I'm going to do this next year in Spanish. And I did it for the entire year number 2 on my phone. Every morning about 5 a.m. I start writing. Same amount of pages, same amount of time, in a different language. The trick with that one was, about July, I realized, man, this does not seem like the Spanish I knew back in the day. After looking a little further into it, I was writing it in Castilian Spanish. Spanish, but not the Spanish that I knew, Spanish that probably Catherine knows. I do not take defeat lightly. I finished out the year in Castilian Spanish, licked my wounds and said I learned, but I didn't learn enough. Year number 3. We're going to do this right this time. Spanish in modern Spanish. Year 3, another book, well, same book, front to back, all in Spanish. The problem with that situation was, I did not know how to speak Spanish after that year. I knew the words, but not how to put them together. And I was reading it from a language that was written 2,000 years ago, not as how we speak today. It was a good launching point, and it was a beautiful experience. Now I can say that my handwriting, my cursive, is better. Not as nice as I thought it'd be, but better. How does this have to do with writing a letter in cursive? This 3 years of training set me up for the golden moment. Typically these days when I write a thank you note to somebody, I write it in cursive. I understand that not many people have been taught or understand. And it's kind of like a temperature check. Who am I dealing with here? How are they going to respond? If they respond. A year and a half ago, I purchased an Escalade. I spent a decade in the automotive industry. A decade that made me more resilient dealing with people and solving problems than I ever thought it could be. I like to build things, I like to break things, and I like to know how it all works in the end. Cars fall directly into it. I don't have a problem buying a used car. I know what's going to happen to it. I know the life cycle when people buy and sell cars is a very typical process. I'm like, great, I paid a third for that Escalade than what it cost sticker 5 years ago. I'm cool. That was fantastic. I considered it a win, but I also knew the problems that they had. So I purchased a warranty with it. A warranty that if bumper to bumper, anything happens with this Escalade in the next 5 years, it's taken care of. Because what GM did in this whole thing is they got a little bit antsy right about 2016. They made this new 6.2 liter beautiful magnificent powerhouse. Great motor. And then they put this thing called AFM, or Active Fuel Management. This Active Fuel Management system takes that engine, if you're driving down the highway, it turns half of it off. Literally turns off half the cylinders. It is perhaps the dumbest idea. And this is to save a few dollars on gas. Mind you not, they put this engine in the Escalade and the Corvette. These are not gas saver vehicles. I do not know who thought, hey, let's save a few dollars here. Well, what happens is, at about 60 to 80,000 miles, those lifters inside the engine, one side collapses and the engine doesn't say, hey, we've got a problem, we need to go to the shop. We say, hey, you're done. You're pulling this thing apart, you're gonna fix it or replace it. But people didn't realize that, and that's why I purchased the warranty. Mind you not, I don't pay interest to anybody unless it has to do with school loans or something that I technically absolutely cannot afford, which is something like a car. So I pay cash outright. I can have it when I can afford it. So I'm thinking, great, bought this truck a year ago, should be fine, got the warranty. Next thing you know, it's 11 months into having this truck. I'm driving down the tollway, I get to the house, and right as I pull into the street, smoke's going everywhere. I'm like, oh boy, here it is. We have just entered the danger zone. No worries, it's okay. That's why the warranty's there. I know what's going on. It's not like I'm gonna break down, everything's gonna go down. So what I did, this is the fun part. I wrote GM a letter in cursive. The first one, I wrote and I said, I explained my story. I've got an automotive background. I know what happened here. I purchased a warranty. It worked out. It took 6 weeks to get it fixed. It's all right. What I'm worried about is the next person that buys one of these that doesn't know this problem. That 1 year into their new vehicle, they have a $12,000 repair. That you fix this or you don't have your new vehicle anymore. I just think that's absurd. So I expressed my concern to GM. And at the very bottom line, I said, and this was very polite, it wasn't rude. It was 4 pages of cursive, me talking like I'm talking to you guys right now. But I said on the very last line, please do not have a general customer service individual call me. This is a specific topic I would like to discuss. Send it in the mail, see you later. About 2 weeks later, I get a phone call. It says General Motors. I get, okay, cool. I pick up the phone and this lady goes, hi, Mr. Barber. I received your letter and wanted to contact you about the problem you're having. I'm like, great, let's talk about it. She goes, first let me tell you, I don't read cursive real well. I'm like, okay, I guess that's why you're calling me, because you didn't read the last line, because you could not read that I said, don't call me if you don't know what you're talking about, which led into question number 2. Ma'am, how familiar are you with the AFM failure problem? What is that? Oh, great. So, I already know where we go ahead. Okay, there we go. I sewed it. I am sitting there thinking, oh, this is going to be a beautiful conversation. But internally, my voice, my inside voice is very colorful. Oh my God, what have I got myself into now? But I'm thinking, oh, we don't back down. We don't back down. And this is why this has to be writing a letter in cursive. It's about resilience and not giving up. I take that same letter, I take the documentation from the dealership, everything, and I write a letter to Mary T. Barra, the president and CEO of General Motors. Send it to her, certified, with signature. Also on that letter, I have her top people listed that they are next in line if she does not respond. I see when she signs for this letter. Fantastic. I never received a phone call. It took about a month. I'm like, okay, great. I'm going to the next person. I go to her #1 guy. I send him the letter, certified, and then 2 weeks later, I get a message. This was actually just a few days ago. From Cadillac Executive. Mr. Barber, we've received your concern. We would like to schedule a phone call with you to discuss our next steps. Great. We got somewhere. Something did get resolved. Now, really the whole process of me doing that is we live in a world where technology rules most of our lives in one way or another. Whether we like it or not, it's here, accept it, love it, or like it. I love it. I embrace it. I think it's great. I have found when I'm communicating with people, many times I'll see a very generic response that says, thank you for your contact with us. We'll be working on insert what you just said here, problem shortly. And then I might have another response saying, well, we have done our research and found that your problem of is, I'm like, oh my gosh. This is a failure of someone putting a system out there and never checked to see if it works or not. The reason I wrote that letter in cursive is because AI cannot read cursive. Oh, I can now. Most AI is not set up to be able to read cursive from a letter to a corporation. I wanted to make sure that my letter was put in the hands of a human being. The first one didn't know how to read cursive. That didn't work out too well. The second one at least got the attention enough to be considered a Cadillac executive, whatever that is. But that's the point of this.